is that they also use probabilistic arguments to try to explain how prevalent it is. Here is one that's been used for decades. Okay, about 5% of school-age children have ADHD, so that's one in every classroom. At least one in every classroom. Okay, that sounds reasonable if the classroom is about 25 kids and 5%, and so yeah, there's at least one in every classroom. But the thing is if they're randomly distributed, there might be more than one in some classrooms and none in others, and it's a very basic probability question where if the prevalence is 5% and the classroom size is 25, okay, the probability of a diagnosis is 1 out of 20. There are 25 trials, but the probability that there's one or more in a classroom is only 72%, because a lot of them are going to have none. And so 28% of classrooms do not have a kid with ADHD. Now, that's not just a mathematical mistake. That means that if they make sure that every kid in a classroom has the diagnosis, that raises diagnosis rates 43%, like that. And these are the things that I love figuring out. Now, they have another saying, which is that ADHD is both overdiagnosed and underdiagnosed in the United States. Now, we understand what they mean. Okay, what they mean is that some kids are getting the diagnosis when they shouldn't, overdiagnosed, and some kids are getting the diagnosis, are not getting the diagnosis when they really are struggling, and that's bad too. Okay. But now let's look at what that means in real life, okay? Let's just say that the prevalence of true ADHD in the United States is 5 to 8%. A lot of people here will think that's too high, but trust me, 8% is what we're going to be dealing with here. Now, the CDC has determined that 11% of currently living children have received the diagnosis. Okay, so immediately it's too high, right? Okay, so you have 11% have received the diagnosis. That means 8% are correct at most, and 3% are incorrect. But it gets worse. Those are the overdiagnosed. But the thing is, they say that there are lots of kids out there who have the disease, the disorder, but haven't been diagnosed yet. Okay, fine. So let's call that 2%. That's basically what they are talking about. But if 2% have it and are underdiagnosed, that comes out of the 8% who have the disorder. So that means that only 6% of the 11% are correctly diagnosed. And 5% of 5 out of the 11% are misdiagnosed, which, as we know, we obviously figure out, is a 45% misdiagnosis rate. Roughly half of the kids in the United States who have been diagnosed with ADHD basically do not have the disorder. They may have other problems, they may benefit from medication. I'm not saying we ignore their issues, but name me another condition in medicine that accepts a misdiagnosis rate of roughly half. No one else tolerates that. And here we treat ADHD with some of the most powerful psychotropic medications known to man, which are stimulants. Now again, they're not the devil's work, but they're serious stuff. And I don't think, my feeling is that if you're going to tell a child there's something wrong with your brain, you better damn well be right. And we're only right about half the time.